April 4th. The end of the world has come, mountains and rivers have shattered, and the world has turned into purgatory. April 5th, Brother Xiao Wang, before I die, I beg you to take care of your sister. In law for me. April 7th, Wang Tao unexpectedly discovered that not only could he see the blood bars of creatures, but also the creatures he killed would drop treasures. Big brother, go with peace of mind. I will definitely take good care of my sister. In law. Keywords of the novel. Apocalypse. I can see health bars, no pop-ups for monster killing and treasure dropping. Apocalypse. I can see health bars, monster killing and treasure dropping. Download the complete text. Apocalypse. I can see health bars, monster killing and treasure dropping. Latest chapters for reading. Chapter 1. Doomsday comes. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 1. Doomsday comes, clearance. Watching the game character punch the final boss to death on the screen, Wang Tao felt a wave of relief in his heart. His gaming addiction is actually not big, after all, he is busy with work. But as long as he plays, he must be perfect. What kind of harmless clearance, full achievement unlocking, and so on. Of course, it's limited to single-player games, and his family cannot afford to play Krypton online games. The game Wang Tao played this time is called Doomsday Kill Kill Kill, which is a side-scrolling fighting and level-crossing game. The content is not very rich, it is just to pass the time. He doesn't remember when he downloaded it anymore. After playing for a day, he finally achieved full success. Go out for a big meal and reward yourself for your hard work. Wang Tao frowned as he watched the pouring rain outside the window. Why is it still raining? He is an ordinary martial arts stunt double. The reason why he played games at home and didn't go to work today is because the rain outside was too heavy, which caused all the scenes on the crew to be cancelled today. I've been tired all day and don't feel like cooking. There's a small restaurant downstairs, not far from me either. Wang Tao ultimately decided to go out and eat. Just as I opened the door, the neighbor's door across from me also opened. A young woman wearing a black dress appeared, holding a phone in her left hand, carrying a bag at her elbow, and raising her heels in her right hand. The slender and symmetrical black silk legs caught Wang Tao's eye. Good evening, sister. In law. Wang Tao was surprised to see her, but still greeted her politely. The young woman's name is Ding Yuqin, and she is the wife of a young director named Xiao Yuan. They got married soon and are very affectionate. Wang Tao and director Xiao are fellow villagers, both of whom are in the film and television industry. Although they don't have much interaction, they are still familiar. When they meet, they will call out Brother Xiao. Wang Tao remembered that the couple returned to their hometown last month, and did not know when they would return. The young woman heard Wang Tao's voice and immediately lifted her head, revealing a delicate little face with light makeup. It's Xiao Wang, good evening. Ding Yuqin furrowed her hair and smiled slightly. Wang Tao helped her long press the elevator, but Ding Yuqin didn't enter and suddenly said. Just remembered, I forgot to take something. You go down first. Wang Tao's face stiffened slightly, but he still spoke politely. Okay, then I'll go down first. He was despised again, but he also got used to it. Ding. Entering the elevator, Wang Tao sighed helplessly as he looked at the tall, 1.83-meter tall man in the elevator mirror and the fierce scar on his face. His face was accidentally injured during a filming, and he has developed a physique comparable to that of a fitness coach, which makes many people scared when they see him. Back in the day, he was also a cream novice and had the opportunity to become the protagonist. As a result, it has now become a martial replacement, still exclusively for the villains. With a self-deprecating smile, Wang Tao walked out of the elevator and opened the unit door, quickly rushing into a small restaurant called Big Mouth Meat Eating. There was no one in the restaurant, and the old TV was playing the weather forecast. The host on the screen said that the large-scale heavy rainfall would stop tomorrow, so please don't panic. Boss Li, where are the people? Wang Tao shouted out. Here we go. The sound came from the side door. A moment later, the boss in a raincoat came in carrying a military green oil bucket. Just refueling the car. What does Xiao Wang eat? A large portion of stir-fried rice noodles. Okay. Wait a moment. Not long after, the boss walked over with a large portion of river noodles, while complaining. Ah, this damn weather, with you and Xiao Wang today, there are less than 20 customers and we can't even earn rent. Wang Tao smiled and shook his head, then curiously asked. Where's Sister Lu? She didn't come today. They are a couple's shop, and Lu Jia is the wife of Mr. Li. She has a fever and is sleeping inside. But there aren't many people today, I'm enough alone. Boss Li shrugged his shoulders. Wang Tao didn't say much when he saw this. Today's rainstorm has made many people's work impossible. Boss, the money has been transferred to you. Take a look. No problem, take your time. The happiness community where Wang Tao lives is a very old-fashioned community with a strong sense of the times. It only has a small courtyard and 4 six-story buildings, with a small resident population. The elevator is added later, and Wang Tao lives at 501, Building 4. However, unlike Director Zhao next door, their house was bought, while Wang Tao's was rented. 2 bedrooms and 1 living room, with a monthly rent of 3,000 yuan. Although this is not the center of Huangfeng City, it is relatively close to Huangfeng Film and Television City, so the rent is not cheap. Originally, Wang Tao had a roommate who shared the rent, but that roommate gave up his dream of becoming a star and went back to his hometown to get married. Wang Tao has been considering whether to move or not recently, and he can't afford the rent anymore. There are several dumbbells and a sandbag in the living room, and Wang Tao exercises every day. After all, to have a good figure, exercise is essential. But let's forget about today. After a hard day off, let's completely relax and unwind. Play with the computer again until midnight, go to bed early today. Just as he sat down, Wang Tao suddenly felt a piercing pain spread throughout his body. Zizi, looking at the sparking wires under his feet, Wang Tao widened his eyes, then his eyes darkened and he fainted. I'm so hungry. In a daze, Wang Tao woke up from hunger and found himself lying on the floor. Quickly getting up and looking at the burnt wires and computer, Wang Tao felt a moment of confusion. Did I really get electrocuted? Wasn't it a dream? Am I still alive? There were many snacks on the table, and Wang Tao, who was extremely hungry, grabbed them and ate them. Ah! Suddenly, a piercing scream came from outside. He instinctively came to the window to look, and then his pupils suddenly shrank. What the hell? In the courtyard of the downstairs community, a person covered in blood pressed a middle-aged man under him, tearing and gnawing on his flesh and blood. The man's gaze was scattered, clearly unable to survive. The blood man raised his head, revealing a fierce and terrifying face. Zombies, zombies. Wang Tao widened his eyes in disbelief. Filming. Impossible. He is too familiar with filming, not to mention not even having a camera or other staff. Just thinking about not having anyone else, several zombies rushed to the blind spot and joined the feast together. Wang Tao was in a daze for a while, and the man on the ground had already been dismembered. Nausea. Wang Tao had a fit of nausea and vomited all the food he had just eaten. Don't panic. Call the police. After forcibly calming down, Wang Tao quickly opened his phone and made an emergency call, but it all indicated that the line was busy. He opened his mobile browser again and wanted to search for local emergency numbers. Countless shocking news emerged at the same time. The end of the world is coming. Zombies. The whole world is full of zombies. The zombie virus is highly contagious. Please hide in a safe place and wait for rescue. The whole world has been attacked by zombie viruses. It is recommended to seek refuge in sparsely populated areas. The known modes of virus transmission are bodily fluids, scratches, bites, and air. Suspected, the incubation period of the zombie virus is between 1 minute and 20.4 hours, which may be related to one's own immune system strength. Please take preventive measures. If unfortunately infected, please self-isolate and remove the infected area as soon as possible. Most water sources have not been affected yet, but it is recommended to filter and boil, or distill before use. If the water turns yellow or green, do not drink it. Individual zombies may retain some living habits, so be sure to distinguish them. Some areas have been completely paralyzed, and water and electricity have been gradually cut off. Expert. Our country has made great progress in anti-zombie virus serum, but it will take a little more time. Watching the overwhelming news, Wang Tao was dumbfounded. How could the end of the world be so good? He just fainted for a few hours. No. Not for a few hours. Wang Tao checked the time and found that the previous payment record at the small restaurant was 8 p.m. on April 3, 4444. Now it is 9 a.m. on April 7. That means he was unconscious for 3 days. End of this chapter. Chapter 2. Taking good care of sister-in-law. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 2. Taking good care of sister-in-law. Wang Tao's parents passed away unexpectedly when he was a child. He was raised by his grandparents, but they also passed away a few years ago. There is basically no interaction between other relatives and him. So even if the end of the day comes, Wang Tao doesn't have much concern. But there are still 3 friends, and Wang Tao definitely doesn't want his friends to have any accidents in his heart. He opened social media and the message of 99+ suddenly popped up. Just the news above made his heart sink. The chat records in the crew group where he works show that almost all the people who went to film in the film and television city 2 days ago encountered unexpected situations. Instead of going, he managed to avoid a disaster. No one is speaking in this group now. The last recorded speech was yesterday morning when an actress said there was a monster wandering outside her room. She was so scared, and then there was no more. To Wang Tao's surprise, the young director surnamed Xiao from the opposite side made many phone calls and sent many messages to him. April 4 th 11.34 Xiao Wang, I heard you didn't come to film. Are you at home? If you are, give me a shout. Hurry up. April 4 22.08 Brother, I'm still in the film and television city. I'm hiding for now. You shouldn't have turned into a zombie, right? It's too scary outside, you must be careful. By the way, your sister-in-law is also at home, but we don't have much food at home. If you have the ability, please take care of your sister-in-law. I, Xiao, will definitely thank you when I come back. April 5 18.49 Brother, I feel like I may not be able to hold on anymore. Before I die, I wanted to ask you something. Can you help me take care of your sister-in-law? She's too scared to stay at home alone and doesn't have enough food to eat. I guess she won't be able to hold on until rescue. April 5 21.13 Brother, good brother. You have to say something back. Are you dead or not? I'm going crazy. This is the last piece of news, which shows that Zhao Gu was about to collapse at that time. Wang Tao tried to reply. Zhao, I'm here. Don't worry, I'll try my best to take care of my sister-in-law. He didn't say too much, just tried his best. The intention is to help if you have the ability, and let it go if you don't have the ability. After all, his own life is more important. The message was sent out, but there was no response after waiting for a while. I guess this director Xiao is really unlucky. With a sigh, Wang Tao quickly researched and summarized the official news online. It took him half an hour and he roughly figured out the current situation. The morning after he was electrocuted, on April 4, the zombie crisis erupted without warning. What specific points are unclear. Anyway, when news on the internet appeared on a large scale, the situation was already very serious. There are also many online observations and introductions of zombies by the public. These zombies have stiff joints, not too fast speed, low flexibility, and a lot of degraded vision. The head is their weakness. But they are tireless, powerful, sensitive to light, and sensitive to hearing. As long as bitten or scratched by zombies, they will be infected, and if infected, they will become zombies. However, many times, the bitten person is eaten by zombies before they mutate. The government urgently dispatched soldiers to suppress the situation, but in the face of a steel flood, the zombies were easily crushed. But the soldiers who participated in the war suddenly turned into zombies without warning. External enemies are not scary, internal disintegration is the most deadly. The government's obstruction failed. At this point, everything is basically chaotic, and the more chaotic the situation, the more people die. I don't know how many zombies there are in the world now, but the number must be terrifying. Wang Tao went to other chat groups again, some of which were still active. Some people in the group are venting their emotions, but more are asking when the government rescue can come, as they are out of food. Seeing these words, Wang Tao quickly went to the kitchen and flipped through them, then his face looked a bit ugly. He doesn't store much food either, at most he can eat it for 3 or 4 days. After all, he doesn't often eat at home, and if he stores too much food, it will spoil. He bought 10 kilograms of rice last month, but now he still has half left. I just bought a whole can of gas and it can last for 3 months. At this moment, a message suddenly popped up simultaneously in all the chat groups. Official announcement. All survivors are advised to stay in a safe place and not go out casually. The government has organized a large number of people to rescue them. The large-scale survivor base has also been preliminarily established, and we will gradually connect everyone to the large-scale base. In addition, considering that some residents' living supplies are already scarce, we will conduct material airdrops in areas with fewer zombies. If there is a shortage of supplies at home, you can take appropriate risks to obtain airdrops. The large-scale survivor base in Huanfeng City is located at 32, Fuqiang Street, Hongsha County, and the locations of each small-scale survivor base are. At the end of this message, there is also a photo of the survivor base with a tall city wall, which looks quite secure. After seeing this message, many people became excited. Rescue is coming. Hold on, brothers. Woo-woo, finally waiting for rescue. I want to go to the survivors' base. Fortunately, I still have some rice at home, so I can stick with it for a few more days. Brother, I don't have any food left at home. I have an 80-year-old mother and a 3-year-old child, so I can't do without food. Brother, can you lend me some food? I will repay it 100 times in the future. You better wait for the airdrop. I only have enough food for the couple of us. And we're also separated by a few buildings. But I dare not go out. Come and give it to me, I'll wait for you at home. Get out of here, Grandpa. Why don't you dare to go out and pick up airdrops, but let me send you food. Thank you very much, La Hey. Hey, don't be so ruthless. Wang Tao shook his head. The forest was so big that there were all kinds of birds. And this is his group in this happy community. The guy who sold poorly seems to be from building 2 across from him, who also works in the film and television city. Wang Tao has seen him before. If I remember correctly, the other person has a single dog. Where did the mother and child come from? Wang Tao looked at other groups again, and in his several drama and classmate groups, some people suggested that when we arrived at the survivor base, we could schedule a meeting. After all, no one knows exactly what the survivor base looks like. If you go to an unfamiliar place and are unfamiliar with the place, it's better for these acquaintances to huddle together for warmth. Wang Tao thinks this proposal is not bad. After years of struggling in society, he is well aware of the dangers in people's hearts. He sent a received message, wanting to respond. As a result, a red exclamation mark appeared in this message. No internet connection. No phone signal either. Wang Tao's face changed. Vaguely, he heard some curses coming from downstairs. Hope is only temporary. Communication has been cut off, and there may be power and water outages in the future. Wang Tao quickly brought all the available containers at home to collect water. Then I went to make a simple lunch. He didn't dare to eat too much, after all, there wasn't much food, so he had to save some. End of this chapter. Chapter 3. I can see the blood bar. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 3. I can see the blood bar. After dinner, Wang Tao went to several windows at home and carefully observed for a week. There are about 10 zombies in the south window, which is the courtyard of the community. This is just what he can see, maybe there are still places he can't see. And there must also be zombies inside these 4 buildings. However, the day when the zombie virus appeared was not a weekend, and the rain stopped. There should be many migrant workers in the community who have gone out. This is the only good news, right? As for the road outside the north window, it is a tragic scene. Many cars collided and blood was everywhere, but no bodies were seen, only a few ferocious-looking zombies were wandering. Of course, Wang Tao doesn't think there are only a few zombies on the road. The angle of his window is limited, and many places are not visible. Maybe there are countless zombies in the car, in the store, in the shadows, and even at the bottom of the wall downstairs. Feeling somewhat helpless, Wang Tao shook his head and began to analyze the current situation. Rescue naturally requires waiting, but before the rescue arrives, there may not be enough food at his home. Go borrow some food from other households. Obviously not. Wang Tao never pinned his hope on the pity of others, and in this situation, the possibility of borrowing is almost zero. There's only one way. Go out and find food. There must be a lot of food in the small restaurant outside the community, and it's very close to his home. But no matter how close he is, he still has to pass through the community courtyard. Although Wang Tao is strong, he doesn't think he can defeat these more than 10 zombies suddenly. Dong, dong, dong. A dull knocking sound came from outside the door. Is it the sister.in.law next door? Or? Wang Tao didn't speak. He walked lightly to the door, and from the cat's eye, his scalp suddenly tingled. Outside the door, a zombie covered in bloodstains, with twisted blood vessels covering his neck and face, twisted expressions, and white pupils, was unconsciously tapping Wang Tao's door with his hands. Dong, dong, dong. Wang Tao has seen this person before. It seems to be the single older brother in his 30s upstairs. Did the zombies discover it? Wang Tao quickly brought a kitchen knife and waited nervously inside the door. Although he doesn't think zombies can open his anti-theft door, having no weapons in hand makes him feel insecure. However, when Wang Tao looked out of the cat's eye again, he suddenly froze for a moment. Ha! What is this? He found a thin red strip on the head of the zombie, with a line of characters .500/500. This red strip is suspended above the zombie's head, unlike a physical object. After waiting for a while, the zombie abandoned Wang Tao's room and went to knock on the door opposite 502. The red bar remained in front of Wang Tao and its size remained unchanged. How do you feel? This is like a monster health bar I'm playing games with. Wang Tao was somewhat surprised. Ah! Suddenly, a piercing female scream came from the opposite room. Wang Tao was not scared by the zombie, but was startled by the scream. Roar! Bang bang! And upon hearing the screams, this zombie quickly slammed the door of 502 like a cat smelling fish. It seems that when this zombie didn't notice any movement, its movements were very slow. As soon as it noticed any movement, it went berserk. As for my sister.in.law, if she could still shout so loudly, it seemed safe for the time being. Wang Tao continued to observe the zombie with his cat's eyes. The opposite door was also very sturdy. After taking a photo of the zombie for 2 or 3 minutes, it returned to its previous state and slowly descended the stairs. I took a photo of the door for 2 or 3 minutes. If there are other zombies, I should have been attracted. That means, is this the only zombie in the hallway of this unit? If there is only one zombie, maybe I can give it a try. Wang Tao's gaze flickered. He will eventually go out to search for supplies, and there is a high probability of encountering zombies when he goes out. He must understand the strength of these zombies and whether he can deal with them. And, he seems to be able to see the blood bars of the zombies. By the way, if it's really a blood bar, then should I have it myself? Wang Tao was about to find a mirror, but just as he thought of his own blood bar, a golden blood bar suddenly appeared in his sight. There is also a line of words on the blood bar. 100 out of 100, and with a movement of thought, the number on this blood bar has become 100% again. A glimmer of enlightenment flashed through his mind. This was his own blood bar. 100/100 indicates that he has a maximum of 100 health and currently has 100 health. 100% is naturally the percentage of blood bars. Sure enough, I can see the blood bar. Wang Tao was excited in his heart. When he was browsing news online before, he didn't see anyone with this ability. At present, there is only one zombie in the hallway. Although it has 500 health, and I only have 100 health, this is an opportunity to fight alone. If you don't try it, I'm sorry for my muscles. It's dry. The opportunity was rare, so Wang Tao decided to try the power of zombies. But not now, he needs to gather his energy and prepare protective measures before going. After all, zombies are contagious, being infected is enough. Warm up first. Wang Tao came to the living room to do push-ups. 1, 2. How do you feel like your physical strength has increased? An illusion. Continue. 3, 4. For 9849950, sweat dripped from the bulging muscles, and a small puddle of water accumulated on the floor. After finishing the last push-up, Wang Tao flipped over and easily got up. Gulu gulu. After drinking half a bottle of water, Wang Tao felt a little excited. It's not an illusion. My physical fitness has indeed become stronger. His physical fitness is already strong, and he used to be able to do over 100 standard push-ups in one breath. That already exceeds the vast majority of people. But now, he actually made 500 in one breath. And after finishing 500, he felt like there was still room for improvement, with a feeling of having another 500. However, exercise should not be too intense at once, especially in the current situation of being trapped. It is better to exercise in moderation as there will be plenty of time in the future. Roar! Another roar came from the hallway. Looking through the cat's eye, I found that the zombie had gone upstairs. Previously, Wang Tao was a bit afraid of the roar of zombies, but after listening to it a lot, he gradually got used to it. Keep your energy up today, and I'll clean up on you tomorrow. After grumbling, Wang Tao ate something and then continued to exercise. It wasn't until evening that Wang Tao stopped and took a shower. In front of the mirror in the bathroom. Where's the scar on my face? Wang Tao found that the terrifying scar on his face had disappeared. Not only that, some other wounds on his body are also gone. And Wang Tao can feel that his muscle mass seems to be getting bigger again. Looking at the handsome face and exploding muscles in the mirror, Wang Tao felt a little excited. Appearance is secondary, mainly due to the enhancement of physical fitness, and the disappearance of scars and dark wounds on the body. In addition, he can see the blood strips of zombies. This is my chance. End of this chapter. Chapter 4. Victory in the first battle. You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. Chapter 4 Victory in the first battle. The next day, Wang Tao got up early in the morning. First, I looked at my fully charged phone, but there was still no signal and emergency calls could not be made. The water and electricity at home have not been turned off yet. He looked up again at the deep blue sky. Is the base station broken or the satellite broken? Is it possible that there are other disasters? Shaking his head, he stopped thinking too much. Wang Tao took out some of the food from the refrigerator and made a sumptuous breakfast. Then he took down all the books from the bookshelf, which were all discounted decorations, but the books were genuine. Wang Tao found some books of appropriate size and wrapped them with tape around his forearms, calves, chest, and back for protection. As for the thighs and upper arms, there is no need to tie anything because these are areas that require force, and tying things will make it less effective. Then there are weapons, and there are several sharp-edged kitchen knives in the kitchen. But the kitchen knife was a bit short. After thinking about it, he tied it to a rolling pin and made a simple short spear. Wang Tao actually wanted to use a mop to transform a long gun, but the corridor is relatively narrow, and the weapon may not be effective if it is too long. If it gets stuck, it will be over. The length of the rolling pin is just right, neither too short to increase the probability of infection, nor too long to make it difficult to use. Finally, Wang Tao brought a thick face scarf and a pair of yellow anti-blue light glasses. Cover your head, face, and even eyes. After all, zombie viruses are contagious, so protective measures must be taken with caution. Wang Tao looked in front of the floor mirror. I saw in the mirror a person who was over 1.8 meters tall, burly in stature, wearing black gloves, a black mask, yellow glasses, brown hiking shoes, tightly wrapped all over, with homemade arm guards tied in his hands and a homemade short spear in his hand standing there. It looks very secure. After everything was ready, Wang Tao waited quietly behind the door. The zombie kept wandering in the stairwell and soon came up. Wang Tao is not in a hurry, continue to wait. The zombie first ascended to the 6th floor, then returned to the 5th floor, and finally descended the stairs to the 4th floor. After seeing the zombie with its back facing him descending the stairs through the cat's eye, Wang Tao took a deep breath and suddenly opened the door. The sound of the anti-theft door opening alarmed the zombies, who turned their heads stiffly, revealing their terrifying and disgusting face. Whoosh! Wang Tao clenched his homemade short spear and stabbed the zombie's head. After the zombie discovered the person, it roared and suddenly turned around. But due to his stiff body and lack of coordination in his movements, he almost tripped over himself when turning around, and his body suddenly stumbled. The knife stabbed by Wang Tao was empty. However, Wang Tao did not expect to be able to kill with just one strike. This sharp-edged kitchen knife can not only stab but also chop. He grabbed the rolling pin with both hands and swung it down suddenly. Prickle, this knife cuts from the zombie's shoulder all the way to the waist. The zombie had clothes on its body, and it was unclear how deep the knife was, but Wang Tao could clearly see that there was a slight loss of blood on the zombie's head. 14, 486/500, what the hell? Did you only cut off this bit of blood with one blow? Wang Tao knew that the blood of the zombie was thick, but he didn't expect it to be so thick. Or rather, the power of his knife is too small. Although shocked, Wang Tao was not too panicked in his heart. He and the zombie are both in the hallway. The zombie is below, and he is above. This is the position he specially selected, and standing on top definitely has an advantage. Wang Tao quickly withdrew his kitchen knife, and the zombie took the opportunity to pounce. A pair of blood-stained hands grabbed at Wang Tao. Wang Tao immediately took 2 steps back, dodged the zombie's attack, and then stabbed out again. Zombies don't actively evade attacks, they were lucky before. This time, the knife hit the zombie's forehead fiercely, but it didn't get in. The skull is the hardest bone on a human body, while the quality of the kitchen knife in Wang Tao's hand is average, even a bit curly. It's not surprising that it wasn't inserted for the first time. But to Wang Tao's surprise, this blow did not cause much damage. Point 3, for 83/500, isn't it said that the head is the weakness of zombies? How could this harm be caused? Is it because the head is too hard to break through the defense? In a moment of rapid thought, Wang Tao clenched his self-made short spear and fiercely thrust from bottom right to top left. Brush. This knife struck the neck of the zombie. Pushi, the zombie's neck spurted slightly blackened blood and stumbled back a step. Wang Tao's knife was relatively shallow, although it cut through the neck of the zombie, it was not cut. However, Wang Tao was somewhat excited. Because this strike dealt high damage. Point 117, 366/500, this knife cut more than 20% of the zombie's blood. The neck is also a weakness of zombies. And compared to the head, chopping the neck is much easier. The zombie, as if enraged, charged towards Wang Tao again and extended its hands, waving fiercely towards Wang Tao's face. A few steps behind Wang Tao are walls, so it's not easy to hide this time. He quickly grabbed a knife in his right hand, then raised his left hand and forcefully carried the zombie with the arm guard on his arm. Bang! Wang Tao took 2 steps back and stepped back to the wall. This is Wang Tao's first time being attacked by a zombie, and he finally knows why the zombie's power is infinite. With his physical fitness, he resisted this attack hard and his arms felt a bit numb. If someone else came over, they might just be knocked down in one go. However, seeing that his own blood bar had not even touched a drop of blood, Wang Tao was somewhat excited. This is reality, not a game. In the game, as long as you are attacked by monsters, even if you are touched, you will lose health, it's just a matter of how much you lose. This is the so-called game mechanism. But reality is not, reality is that as long as you are not injured, you will not lose blood. Wang Tao's physical fitness is very high. With the use of his arm guard, he resisted without causing any external or internal injuries, and only numbed, so he is still full of blood. After understanding these, Wang Tao's eyes lit up. In the game, fighting monsters must follow the rules of the game. Without a one-hit kill mechanism, no matter how powerful you are, you cannot kill monsters with just one move. But reality doesn't need to follow this rule. Thinking of this, Wang Tao rushed towards the zombie instead of retreating. And the zombie also roared and attacked Wang Tao again. Touch. As he was about to collide with the zombie, Wang Tao exerted all his strength and suddenly kicked his foot hard into the zombie's chest. The strength of the zombie is great, but its weight is the same as before, just over 100 pounds. This weight can't stop Wang Tao from charging a blow. The zombie suddenly rolled down to the corner of the 4th floor corridor. Wang Tao kept walking non-stop, stepping on the steps and suddenly jumping. Like a flying man, falling towards the zombie. He clenched his homemade spear in both hands, raised his head high, and while landing, thrust fiercely below. Puzzy. With the help of gravity, this knife fiercely pierced the forehead of the zombie. Point 366, 0 out of 500, 1 hit, second kill. End of this chapter. Chapter 5. Killing monsters and dropping treasures. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 5. Killing monsters and dropping treasures. Call out. Watching the zombie lying on the ground still twitching, its head blooming like a chrysanthemum. Wang Taochang breathed a sigh of relief. This move is called jumping slash by Wang Tao. As a martial artist, it is not surprising that he can use this move. It's just that it's the first time it's been used for practical combat, and he actually doesn't have the confidence to win in his heart. Now it seems that the effect is quite good, after all, zombies won't hide. With the geographical advantage of jumping from high to low, this jump is a full distance of 5 meters. With the power of inertia, the kitchen knife, which was originally unable to pierce the zombie's head, was successfully inserted from the center of the zombie's eyebrows and instantly killed. However, flash sales are not without a price. Wang Tao looked at the convoluted kitchen knife, feeling a bit helpless in his heart. A regular kitchen knife really doesn't work. Wang Tao's gaze fixed as he was getting up from the zombie. Because he saw a semi-transparent package with bloodstains emerging in front of the zombie, his mind moved and the package instantly entered his body. Obtained. Purified water, small, *1, what is this? Wang Tao found a backpack icon appearing under his health bar. The backpack was empty, with only a white plastic square bucket engraved with the words 5L. Purified water, small. 5L, drinkable. Can killing zombies still drop treasures? Wang Tao felt like he could easily take out this bucket of water with just one movement of his mind. But now is not the time to study these. He quickly touched the zombie. I found a string of keys, an electronic bracelet, a box of cigarettes, and a wallet. He originally wanted to pull out the zombie's belt, but seeing a crack cut by a knife on it, he decided to forget it. He didn't miss this belt either. After collecting the spoils of war, Wang Tao went to the elevator again to take a look. The elevator was broken and he didn't know if there were any zombies inside. Bang! Returning to the room, Wang Tao felt some lingering palpitations as he closed the door and leaned against it. At the beginning of the battle, adrenaline was secreted wildly, leaving no time for any other thoughts. Looking back at the zombie that had his head blown out, he still felt a bit uncomfortable in his heart. After a moment of relaxation, Wang Tao gulped down a big sip of water and then took off his clothes. Sweating all over your body, take a shower first. After taking a shower, Wang Tao finally had time to study the backpack under his blood bar. However, before looking at the backpack, he hesitated for a moment. When did I have too many blood bars? Wang Tao was pleasantly surprised to find that his health bar used to be 100 out of 100, but now it has changed to 110/110. He has 10 more drops of blood. Is it obtained by killing zombies? Wang Tao didn't pay attention at that time either. Be careful next time. If you really kill zombies, you can get the maximum health. Wang Tao's face showed a bright smile. He looked again at the backpack pattern under the blood bar. This thing is similar to system backpacks in many games. However, only the pure water, small, can be put into the backpack and can be taken out at any time. And nothing else can be put in. It should be, only things that explode from killing zombies can be put into backpacks. Wang Tao is very excited. This backpack is like a storage space. And he can sense that the time in his backpack is paused, which means that the things in his backpack will never break. Although there are certain restrictions on what can be stored, Wang Tao is very satisfied. After all, he will definitely have to fight zombies again in the future, so don't worry about having nothing to put away. As for the pure water, small, that the zombie exploded in, it was a 5L square plastic bucket. Wang Tao tasted the water inside and it was indeed pure water. Although a zombie burst out with a bucket of 5L water, which is somewhat inconsistent, it's not the point. The key is that killing a zombie can result in treasure loss. This is just like being able to see zombie health bars, it is also an invincible ability to some extent. Killing zombies by others may not necessarily have benefits, but killing zombies by others does have benefits. They can drop treasures and most likely increase the maximum health. It is even possible to increase physical fitness. Wang Tao is not very certain about this, or it may be an illusion of excessive adrenaline secretion. After killing this zombie, he feels like he has become stronger. And he will test a few more zombies in the future to find out. Anyway, as long as he works hard, he will definitely gain something. Is this the end of the world? Why did I suddenly like it a bit? After a small thud, Wang Tao didn't seem arrogant. The strength of zombies is indeed very strong, and even a slight mistake may cause the ship to capsize in the sewer. Of course, he has basically figured out the strength of zombies. As long as he is well protected, he should not be caught by zombies. With his physical fitness, he can completely resist the attack of a zombie. And as long as operated properly, there is also a possibility of killing zombies with just one strike. However, if you want to kill with just one strike, weapons are very important. His kitchen knife became useless after using it once, and when he finds a way to make a weapon that can last for a long time. In the actual battle with zombies, Wang Tao came to some conclusions. To deal with zombies, whether the weapons are sharp or not is not actually the most important thing, the most important thing is to be strong enough. For example, when he uses the jump slash, even a not-so-sharp kitchen knife can still pierce through the head of a zombie. It would be great if we could get things like fire axes, crowbars, and so on. Unfortunately, they don't have these things here. Don't rush for now, take your time. After a simple meal and resting for a while, Wang Tao put on his homemade equipment and tied another identical kitchen knife to the rolling pin. He has a total of 5 such knives, which he bought at a discount before. Based on the previous situation, he can still use at least 4 jump slashes. After being fully armed, Wang Tao opened the door again. There is only one zombie in the hallway, and now that this zombie has been solved, he must come out and take a look. Especially take a look upstairs. This zombie was a neighbor upstairs before it mutated, maybe he has supplies at home. Wang Tao went downstairs lightly, and all the doors on these floors were closed, not knowing if anyone was inside. The unit door on the first floor is locked, although I guessed it before, I dare not be 100% certain. Now that I see it, I feel relieved. Wang Tao arrived at the 6th floor, and the gate of 602 was open. Carefully entering 602, Wang Tao first conducted a rough inspection with his weapon and confirmed that there were no zombies in the room before closing the door to 602. Although there are no zombies in the hallway, it's still better to be safe. Close the door and you can search with confidence. Today is not only the first time he has killed a zombie, but also the first time he has flipped through someone else's belongings without any hesitation. Think about it, there's still a sense of immoral excitement. The things at 602's house are not messy and there are no signs of fighting. I think that neighbor must have suddenly mutated, so it shouldn't be too painful. There's a big bag of rice, probably 7 or 8 pounds, it's not bad. There are still a lot of vegetables and meat in the refrigerator, that's great. Take away all the instant noodles, pickled vegetables, snacks, tobacco and alcohol. Is this walkie-talkie? End of this chapter. Chapter 6. Scratching 602. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 6. Scratching 602. Wang Tao hasn't played with the walkie-talkie much, but he knows it's a good thing. Without the internet, mobile phones are basically not very useful. But the working principle of walkie-talkies and mobile phones is different, perhaps it can still make calls. This guy should be a radio enthusiast. There are 4 walkie-talkies with different shapes and packaging boxes here. In addition to walkie-talkies, there are also 2 radios, one large and one small. The small one is equipped with batteries, and the large one can be manually operated to generate electricity. Wang Tao simply played with it, but there was a sizzling sound on the walkie-talkie and radio, and no useful information could be heard. A little disappointed, but Wang Tao is not in a hurry either. He can take this thing home and try it slowly. After searching the room for a while, Wang Tao took all the things he thought were useful. There are 2 suitcases here, packed to the brim. Then Wang Tao brought another sheet and wrapped up the rest of the things. I won't say if it's possible to use it for now, but I'll take everything I can. After confirming that there were no omissions for the time being, Wang Tao packed these things and, on his way out, locked the door of 602 while taking the keys himself. When locking the door of room 602, a sudden bang, bang, bang sound came from the neighboring room 601, and a roar also came out through the anti-theft door. Wang Tao's spirit immediately gathered. There are indeed zombies in the room. He put down his things and arrived at the door of room 601. Seeing that the door was tightly locked, he temporarily let go of his worries. In Wang Tao's impression, there is a middle-aged couple in room 601. Their units seem to be quite close, and they commute to and from work together. That means there should be 2 zombies inside. Wang Tao's gaze flickered. He could handle 1 zombie, but not 2. But it's still early to say that because he can't open the anti-theft door. We need to find a way to get some tools to pry or unlock doors. If we use brute force to crack it, let's not say if it's easy to break it. Even if it's broken, there will definitely be a lot of noise. Now there are zombies outside, although there are no more zombies in the hallway for now. Wang Tao still feels that there should not be too much noise. Otherwise, even if zombies cannot enter, if they are all blocked at the entrance of the unit, then Wang Tao will not be able to leave. Wang Tao carried a 24-inch suitcase in each hand, a large package on his back, and a package hanging around his neck, walking towards the 5th floor. After returning to his own home, Wang Tao found a place to put these things away. Not to mention anything else, just these grains are enough for half a month. Plus his own original food, he should be able to persist for about 20 days. If Wang Tao had so much food before realizing his abilities, he would definitely choose to wait for rescue. But after discovering his own abilities, he definitely wouldn't want to sit idly by. Let's do this for today. Tomorrow, go check if there are any other rooms that can be opened. As for now, treat yourself. With food, Wang Tao's confidence is also full. He took out all the food that couldn't be stored for a long time and prepared a big pot of food. As for the method, he doesn't pay much attention to it. After washing all the ingredients, add a hot pot base and stew it in 1 pot. How fragrant! I don't know if it's a psychological effect, but Wang Tao feels that this big pot of food is more fragrant than any dish he has ever cooked before. A big bowl of rice was served, and Wang Tao sat down. Just as he was about to start, he heard the door ring again. Dong dong dong. The knocking on the door this time was quite rapid and light. Wang Tao immediately picked up the homemade short spear next to him and walked over to the cat's eye to take a look. I saw a woman with high curled up hair, staring nervously at Wang Tao's door. Is it her? There was no one else outside the door, it was the neighbor across from Wang Tao. Xiao Yuan sent a message asking his sister-in-law, Ding Yuqin, to take care of him. Wang Tao did not directly open the door, but first hung the iron chain behind the anti-theft door. It's already the end of the world, and the heart to guard against others is indispensable. Outside the door, Ding Yuqin looked at the corridor and Wang Tao's door, her face very nervous. Her own door is not closed, and if there is any movement downstairs, she will run back as soon as possible. If possible, she really doesn't want to come out. These few steps of the road have already been the result of her hesitation for several hours. But there's no way, her family has run out of food for a long time. If she doesn't think of a solution, she will starve to death even if she isn't bitten by zombies. Of course, another decisive factor that prompted her to step out of the room was when she saw Wang Tao kill the zombie wandering in the staircase with her own eyes. The specific combat process is not very clear, and although the visibility range of the cat's eye is large, it is also limited. After all, Wang Tao and the zombies were both beaten downstairs. But she knew that Wang Tao had won. The only zombie in the hallway is dead. She didn't expect Wang Tao to be so strong. When her husband had contact with her before, he told her about the terror of those zombies. Not to mention using cold weapons, even holding a pistol may not necessarily win the battle. Many police officers died tragically at the mouth of zombies. But Wang Tao was able to kill zombies alone with cold weapons, which must be said to be too powerful. At that time, Ding Yuqin had an impulse to run out. However, she still dared not only afraid of other zombies, but also afraid of Wang Tao. Because she didn't know if Wang Tao had been infected. If Wang Tao is infected, isn't she just a sheep in a tiger's mouth? So, she waited for a few more hours. When she saw Wang Tao coming out again after returning and carrying a bunch of things from upstairs, she guessed that Wang Tao was probably not infected. According to online sources, although the incubation period after infection varies, most of them share a common characteristic, which is that the body experiences some negative states, such as weakness, fever, cough, etc. Wang Tao picked up so many things from upstairs, clearly without any health problems. However, she still dared not come out. After all, stepping out of this door also requires great courage. But now, when her stomach was growling, she could smell the tempting aroma faintly coming from next door. She couldn't bear it anymore. Only those who have experienced hunger know that hunger is a more terrifying existence than any addiction. After all, eating is an instinct for human survival. When people are really starving, as long as they have a stutter, they can do anything. The door of room 501 has opened. Wang Tao's face appeared from behind the door. Sister-in-law, what's up? Seeing this face, Ding Yuqin was stunned for a moment. Is this Wang Tao, whose appearance can scare children to tears? What about the big scar on his face? However, although she was surprised in her heart, the voice and height were indeed Wang Tao's. Ding Yuqin didn't have the time to get tangled up either. She flicked the broken hair in her ear and then whispered. Cough, that little Wang. Wang Tao, since we are neighbors, can we lend my sister-in-law some food? End of this chapter. Chapter 7. Sister-in-law borrowing grain. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 7. Sister-in-law borrowing grain. Ding Yuqin is wearing a light pink sportswear today, and her graceful figure is tightly wrapped around it. Her hair was curled up, but it was a bit messy, obviously not taken care of with much care. Her face was very pale and haggard. Under those seductive big eyes, there are two faint black circles. I don't know if it's because of the loose clothes, but Wang Tao always feels like Ding Yuqin has lost a lot of weight. She also has a blood strip on her head, but it's green. 63/100, borrowing food. Wang Tao frowned as he suddenly remembered the message Zhao Yuan had sent him, asking him to take care of Ding Yuqin. If it were before, Wang Tao may have hesitated a bit. But now that he has more food in his hand, he has some confidence to save people. After seeing Wang Tao frown, Ding Yuqin's heart immediately tightened. After a few days of starvation, she has come to realize the importance of food. If Wang Tao doesn't give it to her, she will really starve to death. After all, she dare not go out to look for food. Wang Tao, I eat less, just a little bit of food. We will definitely repay you when Zhao Gu comes back. Please. Ding Yuqin clasped her hands together, her face somewhat awkward and pleasing. Then she seemed to have thought of something and quickly took out her pocket. By the way, I have money, I'll give you money. Looking at the hundreds of yuan that Ding Yuqin had taken out, Wang Tao shook his head. We don't need the money anymore. We are all neighbors, so it's appropriate to help each other. Sister-in-law, please wait a moment, I'll go get you some food. Watching Wang Tao go to get something, Ding Yuqin breathed a sigh of relief. Xindao Wang Tao has a good heart, and his previous self was somewhat judging by appearance. However, as soon as Wang Tao left, a strong aroma drifted out. Ding Yuqin followed Wang Tao's figure and looked over, then she couldn't move her gaze. Gulu, Ding Yuqin rolled her throat and swallowed hard. What did she see? It was a big pot of stewed vegetables, right? There's also a big bowl of rice. So much food, enough for 4 or 5 people to eat. Is Wang Tao's food so good? So Wang Tao should be going to serve her a bowl, right? Ding Yuqin had some wild thoughts in her heart. She instinctively pushed the door, but the chain behind the anti-theft door blocked her. Upon hearing the sound, Wang Tao turned around and glanced at her. Ding Yuqin also woke up in an instant and quickly withdrew her hand, feeling somewhat embarrassed. But she felt a bit resentful in her heart. Opening the door and hanging the anti-theft chain, I'm not the kind of person who has the audacity to go in. Ding Yuqin's eyes couldn't leave the pot of stewed vegetables until Wang Tao came over with a bag of bread. Sister-in-law, I don't have much food at home either. Can I give you this bag of bread as an emergency? Looking at the bag of 250g toast bread stuffed out from the crack in the door, Ding Yuqin quickly took it over. The excitement of getting the food was there, but it was not as exciting as she had imagined. Thank you very much. Then I'll go back first. Wang Tao, you and yourself must be careful, those zombies are too dangerous. Ding Yuqin hugged the bread tightly and said sincerely. I will. Wang Tao nodded. After watching Ding Yuqin go home and closing the door, he finally locked the door. In the apocalypse, everyone's food is precious. For the sake of his neighbor Xiao Gu, giving Ding Yuqin a pack of bread is enough fun, at least it can ensure that she won't starve to death. As for giving her a better life, don't think about it. Wang Tao has a large appetite, and these foods are only enough for him to eat. After all, he is not waiting for rescue at home without doing anything. He still needs to exercise and go out to kill zombies. A pot of stewed vegetables and a bowl of rice, Wang Tao ate half of it alone. It's okay, it's about 70% full. After all, we still need to exercise and can't eat too much. I tidied up the table briefly, and the rest of the food will be eaten tomorrow. It's 7 p.m. now, and there's still so much time before going to bed. He's planning to exercise for a while longer. Otherwise, this long night with no way to play on my phone or computer would be unbearable. After resting until 8 o'clock and feeling almost done, Wang Tao started doing push-ups. He did 1,000 in 2 hours yesterday, and today he's trying to see if there's any progress. 1, 2, 3. Wang Tao didn't deliberately speed up the time, so he followed the previous rhythm and said, 999, 1,000. Wang Tao stood up and checked his phone time. There has indeed been progress, these 1,000 push-ups are a few minutes faster than before. Wang Tao clenched his fist with satisfaction. Although progress may not be significant, as long as one can see progress, there is a source of motivation. After a brief shower, Wang Tao brought over the 4 walkie-talkies and radios. The walkie-talkie comes in a packaging box, and one of the boxes contains an instruction manual. After a brief study, Wang Tao opened the walkie-talkie and switched to some channels. ZZ. Still a sizzling sound, without any useful information appearing. Wang Tao turned on the radio again and turned the scroll wheel to adjust the frequency. ZZ. The government will. ZZ. There's a sound. Wang Tao quickly turned the roller back and turned off the lights at home, then went to the balcony window and opened the curtains and windows. After hearing that zombies are sensitive to light, he blocked all the windows of his house with thick fabric and didn't turn on 2 bright lights at night. Although he is on the 5th floor, no one can be too careful at this time. ZZ. The government will organize rescue efforts as soon as possible. ZZ. Please be patient. ZZ. Airdrops will start on the morning of April 18th. ZZ. Will be conducted throughout the city. Repeat. The government will do so as soon as possible. Airdrop. Wang Tao's eyes lit up when he heard the keywords. The government previously mentioned in the group that there will be airdrops in the future, but did not specify a specific time. Now he knows, today is April 8th, and the 18th is 10 days later. Wang Tao is quite looking forward to this airdrop. Because if the government has the ability to conduct airdrops, it indicates that they still have armed forces, and there is a possibility of self-protection or even counterattack. Of course, Wang Tao is also very interested in the airdrop itself. The emergency supplies prepared by the official will definitely be very sufficient. 10 days, prepare well. Wang Tao has decided that if given the opportunity, such as airdropping close to him or even throwing it into the courtyard of the community, he will find a way to get one. If it's really far away, then forget it. Unless he grows in strength and has some self-protection ability in these 10 days the next day. Wang Tao will get up after 6 o'clock. Since the absence of the internet, his daily routine has become more and more regular. I simply warmed up and ate yesterday's leftovers. Then Wang Tao, like before, fully armed himself. He is planning to go to 301 on the 3rd floor today to take a look, because there are 2 people sharing the same apartment. Wang Tao had seen them put the key to the door in the gap of the meter box before. Under normal circumstances, even if someone knows the key, they will not enter. But now, the world is no longer normal. End of this chapter. Chapter 8. Double Kill. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 8. Double Kill Ka. Close your own door. Fully armed Wang Tao walked out. His goal for today is room 301, but before entering room 301, he stopped at the doors of room 402 and room 302 respectively. Inside 402 on the 4th floor and 302 on the 3rd floor, there is silence and nothing can be heard. Wang Tao gently knocked on the door, but there was still no movement inside. Wang Tao suspected that there was probably no one in these 2 houses. After all, when the zombie virus outbreak occurred on weekdays, many workers went to work. There should be survivors at 401 downstairs, because when the internet was disconnected earlier, Wang Tao heard someone inside cursing. This time Wang Tao didn't bother others. As for whether there is anyone in his target 301. Wang Tao first obtained the key from the meter box, and indeed there is a key. He listened closely again, but there was no movement inside. Then he was ready to knock on the door of room 301. If he knocks on the door, there will definitely be no response if there is no one in the room. If someone, out of fear or other circumstances, may not respond. Those who are more daring may ask who is outside the door. If there are zombies, there is a high probability that there will be a response, such as roaring or knocking on the door, as zombies are more sensitive to sound. However, if the zombie is locked in the room, even if there is a response, Wang Tao may not be able to hear it. But on the other hand, if it's locked in the room, he doesn't have to be afraid anymore. So in summary, he knocked on the door, and if there was no response, it was probably safe for him to enter. At least the living room was safe. If there is any movement, there will be zombies in the living room. Perhaps there is another possibility, which is that there are survivors lurking behind the door. This possibility is unlikely for the time being, so let's not talk about whether there are any necessary issues. These survivors need to have the courage not to hide inside and dare not come out. Of course, this is also a possibility, and Wang Tao still needs to pay attention, as the heart of defense against others is indispensable. After getting ready, Wang Tao took a deep breath and lightly tapped the door of 301. Roar. Listening to the roar and footsteps inside, Wang Tao suddenly felt a bit sore. The worst-case scenario has occurred, there are zombies inside. And this is a house shared by 2 people, Wang Tao is not sure how many zombies are inside. After pondering for a few seconds with a serious expression on his face, Wang Tao decided to listen through the door. Dong dong, roar. Dong, dong, roar. Gripping the homemade short spear in his hand, Wang Tao's gaze flickered. Listening to the sound, there should be only 1 zombie and I didn't hear the sound of the second zombie. But what if? If there are 2 zombies, I may not be able to deal with them. After all, I can't make any mistakes. If I get infected, I will die. Wang Tao was conflicted in his heart, but he was not an indecisive person. Everyone has come. Done it. Now the zombie is locked inside, and he holds the key to the door. The initiative lies with him. If he opens the door and finds 2 zombies inside, he immediately closes the door and withdraws. It's not that he's cowardly, but if he has a good weapon, maybe he can try to deal with 2 zombies. But this weapon is really not very good. It will be useless if you poke your head once. Wang Tao gently turned the key, and as soon as the door opened, he quickly opened it and suddenly kicked his foot. Bang! With a muffled sound, a small but terrifying blood-colored figure was kicked away by Wang Tao. Point 3, 482/500, wow, the kicked zombie knocked down an object on the ground. Wang Tao didn't rush in to repair the knife, but quickly scanned the area. There is a bedroom door that is closed, and it is uncertain if there is any danger. But there's only 1 zombie in the living room. My advantage lies in me. Wang Tao clenched his self-made short spear with both hands, and with a kick from his hind foot, he suddenly accelerated. Roar! The female zombie twisted her body and got up, let out a roar from her mouth, then opened her arms and stumbled towards Wang Tao. Wang Tao originally intended to poke its neck with a short spear, but the zombie suddenly pounced forward and dodged Wang Tao's blow. Wang Tao remained calm in the face of danger, turned his short spear and chopped towards the left arm of the zombie. Puzzy. Point 35, 447/500, the kitchen knife may not be sharp, but Wang Tao's strength was astonishing. The zombie's left arm had a huge wound, with black blood splattering. And the other right hand of the zombie slapped Wang Tao's right arm fiercely. Bang! Point 5, 105 out of 110, although protected by thick books, Wang Tao still felt a tingling sensation in his arms and even lost 5 drops of blood. Hurt. Wang Tao's heart became increasingly calm. At this moment, the zombie opened its big mouth and bit towards Wang Tao. Wang Tao put his left arm guard into the zombie's mouth and pressed it against her chin. The short spear on the right hand was fiercely inserted into the belly of the zombie. Point 5, 442/500, this bit of damage is similar to scratching for zombies, but it successfully limits their movement. Then Wang Tao's muscles bulged all over his body, his right leg exerted force, and he whipped his leg towards the zombie's waist. Bang! The zombie slid directly to the ground for several meters, then crashed into the wall. For a moment, it seemed a bit dizzy and unable to get up. Point 15, 427/500, I don't know if it was due to hitting the wall with his head, but the power of this kick was higher than Wang Tao had imagined. Without much thought, Wang Tao chased after the victory and quickly rushed to the wall. He stepped on the zombie's chest, making her unable to move. Then, he held his short spear upside down and raised it high. Pushi, point 427/0/500, top-notch flash sale. A semi-transparent package with bloodstains appeared instantly. After Wang Tao put away the package, he didn't look at it immediately, but instead looked at his own blood bar. 110/115, sure enough, the maximum health bar has increased by 5 drops, and the current health has also been restored by 5 drops. Killing zombies can increase the maximum health bar and restore the increased health. Relieving his excitement, he finally looked at the items in the package. Obtained. Iron block *1, iron block. Material for production, iron block. Looking at the small square iron blocks in his backpack, Wang Tao didn't have time to study them for the time being. He groped around the female zombie and obtained a string of pearl necklaces, a wallet, and a box of crushed women's cigarettes without a lighter. Putting away the spoils of war, Wang Tao didn't rush to search the room. Instead, he sat down and rested for a while before turning his gaze to the closed bedroom door. If I remember correctly, when he came in, the blood bar on the head of the female zombie was 482/500, and his foot opening the door only dealt 3 damage. That is to say, this female zombie is not full of blood. She mutated at home. Theoretically she should be full of blood, unless Wang Tao clenched his short spear in both hands and then kicked the bedroom door hard. Bang! The quality of the bedroom door is still good, resisting a kick from Wang Tao. But the quality of the door lock was obviously not good, and it was directly forced to be scrapped. At the moment the door opened, Wang Tao saw a male zombie lying on the ground with half of its body missing and unable to move. Roar, Puzzy. .286, 0/500, end of this chapter. Chapter 9. Sister.in.law comes to help you. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 9. Sister.in.law comes to help you. Lying in the room was a male zombie with half of his body missing, although he looked quite energetic and had a burly figure. But after all, it lacked arms and legs, unable to stand or dodge, and was easily hit by Wang Tao's head. Wang Tao felt that the strength of this female zombie was not as good as the male zombie in the hallway. He killed without using a jump chop. The reason for the minor injury is due to the terrain. However, the power of jumping and chopping is great, and it also causes significant damage to weapons. After solving the female zombie without jumping and chopping, his homemade short spear can barely be used. After killing the male zombie, his kitchen knife was completely scrapped, and even the rolling pin had cracks, already on the edge of being scrapped. After a brief rest, Wang Tao checked around the room. After looking at the bathroom and kitchen and confirming that there was no danger, he locked the door of 301 and then began to take stock of the harvest. Firstly, there was a male zombie. After killing him, Wang Tao obtained a maximum of 5 drops of health, and his health bar became 115/120. Then there is the package that exploded. Obtained. Gear *1, gear. Material of production. This is a gear with a diameter approximately the size of a ping-pong ball. The female zombie exploded with an iron block, while the male zombie exploded with a gear. And the above introduction all says it's about making materials. The term materials for production is very broad, and iron blocks and gears are things that are relatively easy to see in daily life, with many in hardware stores. Wang Tao doesn't know the difference between the things he explodes and those in daily life, but before he knows their purpose, he definitely wants to save them up and not misuse them. Anyway, the things that come out of the zombie explosion can be put into the space backpack, which is very convenient for storage. After putting the gears in the space backpack, he began to touch the corpse. But there's nothing useful on this male zombie. Finally, we searched the entire 301. Wang Tao searched and inferred the previous situation here through clues and his own speculation. It should be when the apocalypse broke out, women turned into zombies, while men were normal people. A man may have some strength, but when attacked by a woman, he resisted and killed the female zombie with more than 10 drops of blood. But he was also injured, and even half of his body was eaten by a female zombie. After being infected with the zombie virus, the mutation time ranges from 1 minute to 24 hours. The man persisted for a longer time and had a strong desire to survive. In addition, when the zombie virus broke out, it may have some effect on the body, so he dragged his severely injured body back to his room. But in the end, he still couldn't resist the virus and turned into a zombie. After he became a zombie, the female zombie may no longer be interested in him, so when Wang Tao came, he felt quiet inside, the end of the world. He sighed in his heart, but Wang Tao's scraping movements in his hands kept going. Perhaps because there are 2 people living here, the things in this house are very messy. Especially the woman's belongings, such as clothes, cosmetics, adult toys, bags, various small accessories, etc., made Wang Tao flip over for a while. As for men's things, they are simple. Apart from shoes and various electronic products, there are relatively many other miscellaneous items. However, what Wang Tao cares most about is still food, but neither of them has much food, only for a day or two, and there are also some vegetables and fruits that cannot be put in, both of which are wilting. There are quite a few unopened snacks in this woman's room, although they are full, they are not cheap. Ha! Wang Tao found 3 neatly cut steel pipes in the kitchen, one 1 meter long and 2.5 meters long. Good thing. Wang Tao is thinking of using something to replace the cracked rolling pin. This steel pipe is just right. And if the steel pipe is sharpened, even a kitchen knife can replace it. He already has a sharpening stone at home, so go back and grind it slowly. By the way, take this too. Wang Tao took out the gas cylinder from the kitchen. The gas tank at 602's house ran out of gas, so Wang Tao didn't take it. But the gas tank in 301's house is basically full and can be taken home together. An hour later, Wang Tao was carrying a bundle wrapped in bed sheets, with steel pipes inserted into it. He was carrying a suitcase with both hands and ran towards 501. After leaving the things at the door, Wang Tao ran back to 301 to get the gas cylinder. However, before locking the door of 301, he thought for a moment and went to the room. He suppressed his nausea and dragged out the 2 zombies, then opened the window and threw them down one after another. By the way, he also threw the zombie in the hallway down. Due to the fact that the south window is the courtyard of the community, he is afraid of attracting zombies. So it was thrown from the north window, which means it was thrown onto the street. Bang, 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 the sound of 3 heavy objects falling to the ground sounded. Hiss, roar, the street was filled with strange and piercing roars in an instant. Many ferocious and terrifying zombies appeared from the darkness and wandered towards the place where the sound occurred. Sure enough, the streets are full of zombies. Wang Tao felt a chill in his heart. Judging from the quantity, it was estimated that there were 30 to 50, and he didn't know if there were still any in those stores. If someone who doesn't know goes straight in, they might not even have nowhere to run. There is a convenience store across the street, and Wang Tao originally thought that if there was a chance, he could go to that convenience store and search for it. There must be abundant supplies inside. But now he immediately gave up this idea and wanted to live an extra 2 days. After moving the gas cylinder onto 501, Wang Tao was preparing to open the door. The door next door 502 has opened a small crack. Ding Yuqin looked at the big and small bags next to Wang Tao with a shocked expression on her face. In fact, she has been paying attention since Wang Tao left. She probably heard some of the commotion downstairs just now. She didn't know what exactly happened there, all she knew was that when Wang Tao went out, he was holding a rolling pin with a kitchen knife tied to it, but when he returned, he was carrying large and small bags of supplies. Especially the small half bag of rice exposed in that big bundle, she felt that if Wang Tao gave her the rice, she could chew it raw. As Wang Tao was about to open the door and enter, she gritted her teeth and opened the door. Wang Tao heard the commotion and turned his head to look at her. Due to Wang Tao wearing glasses, Ding Yuqin couldn't see Wang Tao's gaze clearly. Cough. That Wang Tao, you're really amazing. You got so many supplies today. I don't think you're good at it either. Sister.in.law, come and help you. After saying these words, Ding Yuqin awkwardly lowered her head and looked at her feet. Oh, she couldn't see her toes. Wang Tao was a bit speechless. It was indeed difficult to pick up so many things, but he had already walked to his doorstep, and he still needed these 2 steps. What did you do earlier? However, looking at the crimson blush slowly rising on Ding Yuqin's pale little face, and the only blood bar above her head of 15 out of 100, Wang Tao pondered for a moment before saying. Okay. Then please trouble sister.in.law. End of this chapter. Chapter 10. Are you injured? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 10. Are you injured? Call out. Seeing Wang Tao agree, Ding Yuqin breathed a sigh of relief. She was already prepared to be rejected by Wang Tao just now. After all, Wang Tao didn't even want her to enter the house yesterday. Thinking of this, she still had a little resentment in her heart. Wang Tao opened the door and gave a slightly smaller package to Ding Yuqin. "Sister-in-law, please help me take this inside." "Okay." Ouch. After Ding Yuqin took it over, she felt her hand sink. She was too weak and had no strength at all. Wang Tao reached out to hold on to the bundle and said helplessly. "Sister-in-law, if not, let me do it." "Cough, it's okay, I can do it." She finally found an excuse to walk into Wang Tao's house, and she didn't want to waste it like this. "Okay." Wang Tao let go of his hand and watched as Ding Yuqin trembled and carried the small bundle inside. He quickly took the remaining things home and then closed the door. Wow, Ding Yuqin knew that Wang Tao had a lot of supplies, but when she truly saw these things with her own eyes, she was still somewhat amazed. "Sigh, they are all useless things." Wang Tao sighed. "Most of these things are miscellaneous items. The most important thing, such as food, is actually not much. As for the weapons, only those 3 steel pipes are qualified, temporarily speaking, they are indeed of little use." "Cough, Wang Tao, why don't sister-in-law come and help you tidy up? You're too messy." Ding Yuqin ignored Wang Tao's Versailles, and as she spoke, she began to take action. "Okay." Wang Tao did not refuse either. "The things at home are really messy. He's either eating, sleeping, exercising, or going to fight zombies these past few days, so he doesn't have time to clean up." Ding Yuqin was wearing a prominent white buttocks skirt today, with her hair pulled up high, revealing her slender and snowy neck. A platinum necklace was deeply stuck in a groove. Perhaps she knew there were no zombie threats in the hallway, and she even wore a pair of coffee-colored high heels that were inconvenient for escaping. Paired with a pair of flesh-colored stockings that tightly adhere to the skin, it adds a lot of sexiness and charm. Wang Tao watched as she crouched on the ground, skillfully sorting items before taking his gaze away from her legs. Seeing Wang Tao's departing figure, Ding Yuqin's tense body relaxed a lot. She could feel Wang Tao's wanton gaze on her, and she had just regretted dressing up to some extent. If Wang Tao's animalistic nature were to flourish, she wouldn't be able to resist at all. She was just thinking at the time that since it was a plea, she needed to have a plea attitude, at least clean and tidy, and not so messy. Fortunately, Wang Tao watched for a while before leaving and did not make any unusual moves. How can I doubt Wang Tao? If it weren't for him, I would have starved to death. He's a good person. Wang Tao took off his equipment in the bathroom, took out the books inside, and placed them separately. These are life-saving items that cannot get wet. Then he took off his coat that had been stained with some zombie blood and rinsed it with water alone. After washing, take off the other clothes and wash them with a washing machine. While taking a shower, Wang Tao frowned as he looked at the bruise on his right arm. This is the location where he was injured today, and the zombie slapped him with 5 drops of blood. When I was just fighting and searching, I didn't feel any pain. After touching hot water or lightly, he felt a piercing pain, and he suspected that he might have injured a bone. Wang Tao was thinking before that he was slapped by a zombie without any wounds or pain. Why did he lose 5 drops of blood? After all, he only has over 100 blood in total. Is it difficult for the zombie to slap him a few more times and still be able to directly kill him? He feels a bit unreasonable. But now it seems that this is not unreasonable, but very reasonable. Because there is a limit to a person's tolerance for pain. It's not that only beheading or stabbing the heart can lead to death. Even some pain on the surface of the body can potentially cause a person to die from it. The bruise on Wang Tao's body is definitely not fatal, but if there are too many scars, even bones, it may also be painful to death. So it's reasonable to lose 5 drops of blood. This health bar, unlike some games where it only represents health, also represents the health status of the body. This can also explain why the blood bar on Ding Yuqin's head is only 15. Although Ding Yuqin was not attacked, her health has been declining due to hunger, fear, and other conditions. If no one helps her, maybe her ending is either starving or scared to death. After taking a shower, Wang Tao wore long pants on his lower body and a vest on his upper body, exposing his arms. His bruise hurts at the slightest touch, although he can tolerate it, there is no need to torture himself. It has to be said that Ding Yuqin is quite capable. In the time Wang Tao took a shower, she had already sorted many things into categories. These things are neatly arranged together and look comfortable. Sister-in-law, don't worry, take a break. Wang Tao spoke up. Ah. It's okay, it's okay. Just wait a little longer and it'll be fine. Ding Yuqin looked up and saw Wang Tao's explosive muscles and a somewhat unfamiliar but handsome face. She quickly lowered her head again. Not long after, these things were all classified in a simple way. There aren't too many things, and there's no need to divide them too finely. Wang Tao has a mind that cannot be wasted. He picked up these things like picking up garbage, and there's no need to say otherwise. Ding Yuqin's legs were slightly sore from squatting. As she was about to stand up, she suddenly felt a sudden blackening in front of her, and her body fell backwards uncontrollably. Wang Tao, with quick eyes and quick hands, grabbed Ding Yuqin's waist. Sister-in-law, are you okay? Ding Yuqin's face was very pale. The words, blood loss, appeared on her head. 5, 10 out of 100, good guy, I just packed up my things and still managed to lose blood. Touch porcelain, right? And she's only a little bleeding, is she going to die with just a slap? Wang Tao thought slightly wickedly. I'm fine. Maybe it's some anemia. After relaxing in Wang Tao's arms for a while, Ding Yuqin quickly broke free from Wang Tao's embrace and awkwardly curled her hair around her ear. A hint of crimson appeared on her pale face. Are you injured? However, when she saw the bruise on Wang Tao's arm, she was startled and instinctively took a step back. Wang Tao nodded without saying much. After all, being injured is not a glorious thing. Ding Yuqin thought Wang Tao was infected. However, seeing that there were only bruises and no wounds, and Wang Tao remained calm, she breathed a sigh of relief again. Ding Yuqin felt that her performance of just taking a step back seemed somewhat inappropriate, so she quickly took a step forward and grabbed Wang Tao's arm, gently stroking the bruised muscles around her and softly said, I have some experience in treating falls and injuries. End of this chapter.